Hello everyone. I welcome you all to this live session again by Great Learning. And in today's session, we'll be doing something very interesting. So we have a lot of websites around us and we'll see how to extract data from some of these websites. Now, before I start off, just give me a quick confirmation if you can see my screen and if you can also hear me. So just let me know in the chat if everything is good for you folks. And I'll just wait for a couple of minutes for you to give me a confirmation, and in the meanwhile what I'll do is I'll introduce you to this amazing platform called as Great Learning Academy. So as you see, this is Great Learning Academy and this is a free initiative by Great Learning, and over here you have all of these free courses. You have courses with respect to data science, machine learning, AI, cloud, big data, and a lot more. And once you complete any of these courses, you will get a course completion certificate, which you can go ahead and add onto your resume or onto your LinkedIn page. And that would be a huge value add to you folks, right? And also, let's say if you do not have your desktop or system with you or a laptop with you, well, learning should never stop. So that is why we also have the Great Learning app. And you can get all of these courses on the Great Learning app as well. And someone from my team would be putting up the links for both GLA and also the Great Learning app in the chat. So you can go ahead and register to Great Learning Academy over there. Now, let me just go to the chat and see if there are any questions. So some of you are asking if this can, well, you cannot record from your side, but you don't have to record because this is a YouTube live session and this will stay on YouTube. We will not take this video down. This video will always stay on YouTube, so you don't have to worry about this content not being there after a month or maybe after an year. So you really don't have to worry about that. So we will start off with today's session. Now I see that there's a watching of 37 and we've got 15 likes. So if all of you could hit the like button and let's just quickly hit 50 likes in the next 2 to 3 minutes, that would be amazing. So if you were just attending the session now, all of you just go ahead and hit the like button. And for those folks who are new to our channel, so if you haven't hit subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon, well, I'd urge you folks to subscribe and also hit the bell icon, as you'll get the notifications whenever we are going live and whenever we upload new videos. So do not forget to hit the subscribe button. And now, so today's session would be structured in this way. We'll be going through some of the fundamentals of Python, and once we cover some of the fundamentals of Python, we will learn how to scrape data through some of the websites. Also, let me know in the chat how many of you are comfortable with Python and how many of you are complete beginners with Python, so that I can structure my session in the same way. AV Gamers is asking which module will be used for web scraping. We'll be using Beautiful Soup for this purpose. So Beautiful Soup is a library in Python and we'll be using that particular library. So AV Gamers, I've answered your question, and there is no need to keep spamming in the chat, as that would sort of be problematic for other learners. So please make sure that you're not spamming over here. Suryakanth is asking, can I save images of what we visualize, charts, bars in Jupyter Notebook? Yes, absolutely, you can do that. But then again, that is not the agenda of today's session. So maybe we'll cover that in some other time. And let's say if you have to store it normally, you can just take a screenshot of the image which you make, which is very easy. So you can just do that for now. So guys, I had asked you a question. I wanted to know how many of you are comfortable with Python, how many of you know Python, how many of you are experts at Python, how many of you are complete noobs at Python. So just let me know. New Philosopher is saying I'm a beginner. Anant is saying I'm comfortable. Ved is saying first experience. Satish is saying complete beginner. Okay. Intermediate, beginner. Okay. So what we'll do today is we'll look at some of the fundamentals of Python language, and then we'll head to web scraping. Now what I'd want to do is I would actually start off with some of the data structures in Python. Now you would be comfortable with the variables, operators, and the different data types in Python. But we'll look at the complicated data structures, which are basically list, tuple, set, and dictionary. So once we cover list, tuple, set, and dictionary, so these are some of the basics of Python again, then we can head to the web scraping part. So Python is a very dynamic language in the sense that you do not have to set the data type of the object which you create initially. Now let's start off with this object or data structure called as tuple. So here I'll write down T1 is equal to, I'll put in round braces over here. And now round braces indicates that we would want to create a tuple. And inside this, what I'll do is I will just pass in a list of numbers and I'll hit on run. So here a tuple is basically where you can store multiple elements at the same time. So here you see that I am storing 4 elements at the same time into this object. Now let me print out T1. Let me also look at the type of this. So inside the type method, I am passing in T1 and you would see that this is a tuple. So this is very easy till now. Now there is a special property of a tuple. So whenever you're creating a tuple, it is basically unmutable or immutable, which would mean that once you create a tuple, you cannot change the elements which are present in it. Now, let's say if I have all of these elements in this tuple and I would want to change the first element which is present. So here, let's say if I try something like this, T1 at the 0th index, I would want to replace the value of 1 with 100. Let me hit on run. You would see that I get this error. Tuple object does not support item assignment, and this is the case because this is immutable, right? And this is how tuples work. And it's not also necessary that you have to store only elements of same type in a tuple. You can also store elements of different types. Let's say if I create T2 over here and I will have 1 A true, and I'll also have a complex number. I'll write down 3 plus 4J. This is my second tuple over here and I'll print out T2 as well. And let me also check the type of this, type of T2, and I'll hit on run and you would see that this is a tuple again. So we have looked at tuples. Again, let me see if I can change the values which are present in this tuple. So let's say if I want to change this particular value. So this is present at index number 2. So this is index 0, index 1, index 2. So I'll write down index 2 and inside this I'd want to change the value from true to false. Again, I'll hit on run and you would see that again I get the same error because a tuple is immutable. So I hope this is clear to everyone. Now that we understand what exactly is the problem with this, we have another data structure called as a list. So when it comes to a list is mutable. So you can understand with the word mutable itself. Mutable would mean that once you create a list, you can change the values which are present inside this list. So now what I am going to do is I will create this list called as L1. And now whenever you're creating a list, you create it with square braces. So you see the difference over here. When it comes to a tuple, you are creating it with round braces, and when you are creating a list, you are creating it with square braces. And this is how Python interprets or understands whether it is a tuple or a list. So you give round braces, Python understands that it's a tuple. You give square braces, Python understands that it is a list. So now here, what I'm going to do is, let me store in the same values over here. Inside L1, I am passing the values 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now after I pass the values, let me do the same things over here. Now let's say if I want to change this particular value which is present. So what I'm going to do is L1 is equal to, actually I need to give the index over here. So what is the index of this? The index of this is 0. So I'll have L1 of 0 and I want to change the value to 100. So I'll make it 100. I'll hit on run. You would see that this time I'm able to successfully run this cell. And let me print out L1 again. So here you would see that initially the value at 0th index was 1. And now since a list is mutable, I'm able to change the value from 1 to 100. Right? So this is extremely simple. Now, another thing about a list is you can add new elements to this. So here, how many we have? 0, 1, 2, 3. So let's say I have L4 is equal to, let me add 500. This is actually L1. Now let me hit on run. So this is actually index out of range. Let me see if we have L1 dot add. Let me see if this is a method which we can use. L1 dot insert, and I'll have probably 3. Right, so this time it works. Now let me print out over here. So as you see, I am inserting the value 5 at index 3. So what is index 3? 0, 1, 2, 3. Right, so initially I had the value 4 at index 3, but instead of this, I am inserting 5 at index 3, and this value goes one step to the right. So I can also add new values in my existing list. So that is why a list is called as mutable. And if I want to delete some elements from a list, that is also something which can be done. So we are clear with the list, we are clear with tuple as well. Now let's go ahead and understand what is a set and what is a dictionary. So set and dictionary are a bit different. Let's actually start with the dictionary first. So till now what we are doing is we are just storing random values over here. But when it comes to a dictionary, we have key value pairs. What exactly is a key value pair? Well, let's understand that properly. So here I will be creating an object called as D1, and in D1, so here to create a dictionary you will be using curly braces. So here as you see I'm using curly braces for a dictionary, and when I say key value pair, let's say if the key, for the key I give a value of K1, for the value I given 10. Now I'll have the next key value pair. I'll have the next key to be equal to K2. I'll given the value to be equal to 20. Similarly, I'll have the next key to be equal to K3, and I'll given the value to be equal to 30. Right? So I have key value pairs. This is the first pair, second pair, third pair, and I'm storing this in this object called as D1. Let me print out D1 over here, and let me check the type of this object which I have just created of D1, and you see this is dict, which would mean that this is a dictionary. Now if I would want to extract only the individual keys and individual values from this dictionary, that is something which I can do. So let's say if I would want to extract only the keys from this dictionary, I would write down D1 dot keys and let me hit on run. So you would see that I have extracted. Seems like OBS has reconnected again, so I'd like to apologize if you guys would have faced a delay. Right, so as I was saying, I have all of these values stored over here, and I will hit on run. Now if I print out S1 again, you would see that all of the duplicate values have been removed. So I have 1 with repetition, 2 with repetition, 3 with repetition, and 5 with repetition. So all of the duplicate values have been removed, and this is the final result which I have in a set. So that is why it is said that in a set you can only have unique values. So we have covered all of the basic data structures. AV Gamers is saying that means lists are mutable. Yes, lists are mutable. Right. So we have covered the basics of all of these data structures over here. And now what are we going to do is we will head to the web scraping part. So we've looked at the basic Python syntax. So all of you who are new to Python would probably be comfortable with Python for now. Now let's head to the complicated part, and let's head to the main part of today's session. So if any of these codes seem a bit complicated for you, don't really worry, because I'll be explaining line by line about what is actually happening. Now to perform web scraping or data scraping, we would need this library called as Beautiful Soup. So first you'd have to install this. So you'd have to install this library called as Beautiful Soup, and this would be the command. And whenever we'd have to extract something from a website, we'd have to send a request to that website. So we would need a library called as requests. So you'd have to start off by installing these two libraries. You'd have to install Beautiful Soup, and you'd also have to install requests. So after you install both of these, that is when your main program will start. Right? So all of you who are performing this code parallelly, And if you want to perform web scraping, make sure that you install Beautiful Soup and Request in your Anaconda. Either you can do it over here, or you can just open up Anaconda prompt, and over here you can just write down pip install Beautiful Soup 4. Similarly, you can write down pip install Request, and you'd be able to install both of these libraries into your system. Now, after installing both of these libraries, I'd have to import my required libraries. So I need a library called as sys, and I'd also need a library called as time. Now I tell you why would I need both of these libraries. So for now, we have imported this just to make there would be some errors if we do not take care of how we are sending a request. So that is why we would require this time library. And after installing Beautiful Soup 4, so BS4 indicates Beautiful Soup 4. So in this we have this method called as Beautiful Soup. So we have installed our library. Then from this library, from BS4, we are importing this method called as Beautiful Soup. Similarly, what am I doing over here? I had installed this library. Now I'm also importing this library. So I have imported all of the required libraries. Now, as you see the title, I'll be scraping some data from the Cricbuzz website. So let me just open up Cricbuzz over here, and this is the website which you see. Now what I'd want to do is I'd want to extract these one-liners. So you see all of these small articles over here and the heading over here. Now below each of these headings, you see that I have these two-liners or a brief introduction to all of these news items over here. And I'd want to extract all of these two-liners or three-liners from this. So let's see how can we actually do that. Now before I explain the code, let's inspect this website. So if you have to inspect this particular website, if you have to look at the source code of this website, press Ctrl+Shift+I. So I've got this console window over here. How did I get this? I pressed Ctrl+Shift+I. So when you press Ctrl+Shift+I, you would get all of this data over here. So as you see, as I'm moving my cursor over here, you have certain parts of the website highlighted. Right now I have my cursor, you see that the top part of the website is highlighted. When I bring it down, you see that this part is highlighted. Similarly, let me also scroll this a bit down. So you see that as I'm scrolling through this, you have some of the part of this website to be highlighted. And now if I do want to get the source code for a specific part in my website, I can press Ctrl+Shift+C. So I pressed Ctrl+Shift+C now, and as you see, as I'm moving through my website, now certain sections of the website are highlighted, right? So what I have to press is the shortcut is Ctrl+Shift+C. Now, as I've told you, this is what I want to extract, the short news items. So I'll just click on this. Now when I click on this, I have the exact source code of this. So here you'd see that for this particular line, the source code is dev class cb news intro. So this is present in the division tag, and every tag needs to have a class. So the class for this is cb news intro. Similarly, let's say if I scroll again, let me press Ctrl+Shift+C. And if I select this, let me also again do this. Now if I hit on this, seems like it is. So again, you would see that I have the same thing over here, CB news intro. So as I'm scrolling down, you see that. So these headlines which you see, this is big CRD related item. Again, let me scroll a bit down. Let's see if we can find anything through over here. Right, so as and when I am scrolling through the website, I have this portion highlighted. Similarly, if I am going through this, I have certain portion of the website highlighted. Now our task was to extract this particular news item, right? The small headings or the short headings. So again, I'll have Ctrl+Shift+C. I'll select this, and this is the part which I need. Now we know what is it that we have to extract. Since this is what we have to extract, I'll go back to my code over here. And now let me import all of the required libraries. So I've imported Beautiful Soup, I've imported requests. Now after this, whenever we have to scrape something from a website, I've told you that we have to send a request to the website. So here, this is what I'm doing. I'm using, so from this request library, I have this method called as get. So if you have any knowledge of the protocols, you would know that when we are requesting something, we would need the get method, and we are sending something, we have the put method, right? These are the get and put methods from our network protocols. And since I am sending a request to this particular website, so this command, what I'm doing is I am basically sending a request to Cricbuzz so that I can get something from it, so that I can get a response from it. And this is the code, request.get, and inside this I will give in the link of the website from which I would need a response. And right now, since I would want to scrape data from this Cricbuzz website, this is the link that I've given over here. And the result I store in this page object. Now I have put this request command in try catch block. So try catch block, what is it used for? So try catch block is used for exception handling. Now why have I put this request in the try catch block? That is because many a times, let's say if I'm sending a request, and if let's say the website is under maintenance, or maybe if the website does not acknowledge our request, then that is an error and we have to handle that error, right? So many a times it would happen that a website is under maintenance or the website is not working, right? So in those cases, even though we are sending a request, well, we might not get a response. So what do you do in that case? In that case, you would have to handle the error or handle the exception, and that is what we are doing here. So right now it seems that the Cricbuzz website is properly functioning and we would not be getting an exception, right? So we can actually put this without the try catch, without the try and exception block, but it's always better whenever you're sending a request to any website to put it in the try and exception. So I put this request method in the try block, and in the exception we are handling the exception. So here, as you see, let's say if there is some type of error, I'll get the error type, I'll get the exact error object, and I'll get the information about this error. Then I can just go ahead and print out the information for whatever error it is. Then here you see that I imported time. Now after, so I've sent a request, and after this request is acknowledged, I am using a timer over here and I'm setting a sleep of 2 milliseconds. Now why is this required? This is required because whenever we are sending a request, so here you have to understand that this request we are continuously sending to a particular website. So whenever we are continuously sending a request, there might be cases where the website might block us, right? So because this is where all of your ethical hacking concepts come in. This is how actually ethical hackers try to hack a website, right? They try to they try to brute force something into the website, in the sense that they keep doing it again and again and again and again. And now this, what we are doing over here, we are sending a request. We are not really trying to hack the website, but we are only sending a request, but this request is sent a lot of times. Now since this request is sent a lot of times, the website, there is a possibility that the website or the server might block us. So what we are doing over here is we are putting a space, or we are putting a gap between our request, and that gap is of 2 milliseconds, which is decent enough, right? So time.sleep, and we have given a timer of 2 milliseconds over here, which is basically decent enough for us to send our request to this particular website. Now after this, what I'm going to do is, so here I had got a response in page. Let me print out page and actually show it to you. So we don't have anything. Let me actually run this entire thing. And now let me run page, and here you would see that I've got response 200. So this response 200 would mean that our request has been acknowledged. Right, so this is the request which I sent to Cricbuzz, and my request has met with a response. Right, I have got a response from this website. Now, so now that I've got a response in the page object and I've stored the response in this page object, what is it that I want? I would want to extract some text from this website. So to extract text from this website, I'll just write down page.text. And what is a website composed of? A website is composed of all of these HTML tags, right? So if I would want to extract the text which is present in this website, I would have to parse this text through all of these HTML tags, isn't it? Because let's say if I have this particular text, this text would be present inside a HTML tag. Again, I'll show it to you. So let me just press Ctrl Shift C, and if I select this over here, so this is what we have. So you see this? So this is the same particular line, and this line is present in this particular HTML tag. So we'd have to parse this text through all of these HTML tags. And that is what we are doing over here. And to do this, we are using the beautiful soup method. So beautiful soup, your first parameter is page.text, and we are using the HTML parser for this. And the result we are storing in soup. Now let me print out soup and let's see what do we have. So here, this is what we have extracted, right? So this entire thing which you see on the right side, this is what we have extracted over here, right? So here, as you see, we would have doc type HTML, right? So this is where it starts, and similarly doc type HTML, and this is where it starts. So we have extracted this entire HTML code from the website. Now we don't need the entire HTML code. What I want is only the text from this website. Since what I want is only the text, what I'm going to do is this, right? So now in the soup object, I have the entire HTML code. So from this entire HTML code, what am I supposed to find? I am supposed to find only those items which are present in the division tag and they have a class name, a specific class name. So again, I'll have Ctrl Shift C, I'll hit enter. So what I want is I'd want all of those text which are present within the division tag, and it has a specific class name. So the class name is CB News Intro, and that is exactly what I have given over here. So from all of these HTML tags, I'd want to find all of the division tags, and from those division tags specifically, the class name or the class has to be CB News Intro, and I'll extract all of them and I'll store them in this links object. Now that is done, let me go ahead and print out links. So as you see, I have extracted all of these division tags where the class is equal to CB News Intro, and we have extracted the text which is present in this. Now again, what I want is only the text. I do not want these division tags over here. Since I don't want the division tags, now what I want to do is I'll just use a for loop, and with the help of this for loop, I am going to print out whatever text is present within these links. So I'm writing down for I in links, print I.text, and after every headline, I am just printing a new line. I'll hit on run, and as you see, let me show this for you guys over here. So the first one, what do we have over here? 36-year-old led in 36 of the 69 tests he played for South Africa since the memorable debut in Adelaide in 2012. And that is exactly what we have over here. Similarly, the next line. R. Ashwin opens up about his plans to dismiss Ben Stokes, why he isn't surprised by Rishabh Pant's risk and his take on dealing with alien conditions. And that is exactly what we have over here. Right, so we have been able to successfully extract certain sections of the website with this library called as Beautiful Soup. So I hope everyone is clear with this. Let me again go back to chat and see if there are any more questions. Mohammed Afrit is asking CSS meaning. So AV Gamers has already given the answer, but CSS, you can basically use CSS to to give in more colors, more background styles, or basically make it more aesthetically pleasing. So HTML would give you the basic structure. With the help of CSS, you can make it more beautiful. AV Gamers is asking, can we edit website using inspect? No, you cannot edit a website. So as you can understand with the word inspect, you can only inspect it. Right now what we are doing is only inspecting it. Saurabh is asking for MacBook, what do we have to press? Well, Saurabh, unfortunately I do not have a MacBook and I've never done this on a Mac. So probably you'd have to do a bit of Google search. So try the same commands. If it works, that would be awesome. So maybe just go ahead and do a Google search and see if that helps you. Shoaib Numan is asking, why need the scraping? So let's say, now let's say if I needed some information, right? So let's say if I'm collecting some information related to cricket and I wanted all of the headlines, right? I just wanted the top headlines for there. Now, if I had to manually go through this and manually control paste each and every line, that would take up my time. But instead of this, what I can do is I can just write in this small piece of Python code, right? So this is very small. This is around 5 to 6 lines of Python code. And with the help of this 5 to 6 lines of Python code, I am able to extract all of the headlines which are there in this website. So these are the things which is why web scraping is very useful. So let's say if there is any informative content that we need and if we have to manually do it, it would take a lot of time. We can just automate the process with the help of web scraping. Bharat Kumar is asking, what we have to do is just extract one attribute like the first title. Yes, you're right. Well, to give you more context, now this is the first website we have extracted the data from. Now we are also going to do something similar from the Amazon website, right? So let me open up amazon.in and this time I'd want to extract some of the reviews over there. So let me take this entire thing over here. Let me copy this link. Let me open up this website. Let me properly copy this. And let me go ahead and paste it over here. So I have opened up this Amazon reviews for Apple iPhone 11 Pro. Now what I'd want is I'd want to extract all of these reviews over here, right? So if I want to extract all of these reviews, what I'd have to do first, I'd have to inspect this website. So first I will press Ctrl Shift I. So when I press Ctrl Shift I, again you see that I have all of this information present. Now I'd want to understand each of these individual elements inside this website. So for that I'll press Ctrl Shift C. And here, as you see, if I just go ahead and select this is what I have. So this is the span tag and I have class is equal to a size base. And this is what I'd have to extract. So let me go over here and let me show you the code which I have used. Again here, this is pretty much the same request.get. So first I'm sending a request to this particular page. Now when I send a request to this, I'll get a response. And again, I am putting this in try catch block. Till here, it is pretty much the same. Again, I'm parsing through the text. And here you would see that find all, I'm finding all the division tags, and in the division tags the class has to be a size base. Let me actually change that to span Now let me run this over here. Sys is not defined, so I'd have to run this over here. Now let me run this again. Right, so I have links, so it seems like we do not have anything over here. Let me actually extract something else. So I'll have Control Shift C. Let's say if I want these things, a size base, so I want to properly maybe copy this, and what I'll do is I'll paste it over here, and let me see if we get anything over here. Again, nothing. Again, I'll hit on run. So probably what we'll do is we'll just change this to div tag, because all of these would be present in the div tag. Let me change this to div, and now let me hit on run. And also let me just change this, and let me just keep this as a size base, and let me hit on run. And this would be, let me again Control Shift and C. Let me select this, a size base, span class is equal to a size base, and let me run this over here. So seems like I'm missing something over here. Let's actually maybe get something else from this. Attributes, this actually has to be class and not div, so that is what I was missing. Now we'll be getting the result. Alright, so as you see, this class a size base is the name of the class over here, and this is present in the span tag, and we've got all of this. Now what we want is only the reviews, and we've got the reviews over here. Alright, so now as you see, let me scroll down over here. We've got all of these reviews. So best phone in the smart market, hands down, reviewed in India on 16th September. You have to love Apple because they not only make amazing product, they make magic. Reviewed in India on 4th October 2019. So you see, this is how we have basically inspected this. So you can go through each of these individual elements, look at the tags, put in those tags over here, and you will be able to extract important information from the websites. Waves Reborn is saying web scraping never works on Amazon. Well, we've just done this right now. So we have extracted the reviews. Shaz1 is asking, some web page needs login to view content. How to pass login with Python script? So here what you're basically asking is, so here see, you have to understand about doing something ethically or legally and doing something unethically. So right now what I'm doing is completely ethical, completely legal, because I do not have to, manipulate my way into getting into this website. So all of this is public information, right? So whatever is present over here is public information. Whatever is present over here is public information. And what I'm extracting is also public information. But let's say if you'd have to log in somewhere, and after login only then you can extract the data, then that is a problem, right? Only if you have access to that website, that is when you can log in. If you want to force your way into there, that is where you are actually trying to hack that particular website. So again, understand the difference between web scraping. So what we are doing over here is simple web scraping. We are not trying to manipulate our way into the websites, or we are not trying to hack anything from this website. Right, so there's a important difference between web scraping and hacking. So I hope all of you are clear with that. Hemant Reddy is saying, I think this is static web scraping. We need to use Selenium tool for dynamic kind of thing. Yes, that is right. So what we are doing is we are just going through whatever static data is present. So let's say if I have any of the tables, any of the text, any of the images which are present, that is the that is the kind of information that we are scraping right now. All right. So folks, this would be it for today's session. So today's session would be a short one. Our agenda was to cover web scraping and how to scrape data from some of our important websites, and we have done that using the beautiful soup library.